Welcome to the 5 podcast, because I'm doing the intro this time because Nick unfortunately can't handle it. This is my podcast with Nick Sarai, where we talk about 5 business things that we're doing right now to generate more revenue. And that's what this podcast is all about. It's about increasing revenue and decreasing expenses.
So it's your podcast now? We just covered that briefly?
It's my podcast now.
All right.
I'm the host of this podcast for this episode. You are the guest. See, it says it right on our recording tool. Host and guest.
Actually, it's cool to kind of be in the, I don't actually have to do all the work this time.
Exactly. I don't know what that's like, but it sounds cool. So please, because I'm the host this time and you're the guest, what can we do for you? How can we help you? What is your MRR this month? Please tell us.
170. We're talking revenue here. 175K.
We're talking MRP, so like monthly recurring profit.
170,000. I hit 170 grand.
MRP,
baby.
Oh my God, that's pretty good. Not gonna lie, you're getting up there. It's getting respectable.
What about you, Matt?
That's more than I have in MRP. I only have 157K MRP.
You're kidding me.
The rest of it is just R. It's just R on the balance sheet.
Why am I even here talking to you when I could be talking to somebody with 170K?
Well, if you can find someone 194K, that might be a better use of time. But please tell us the first thing.
Well, I'm thinking we should probably, so just for engagement purposes, I kind of want to tickle people's balls a little, give people like a taste of what it is that we're going to be talking about later on, just because I think it's a good opportunity for us to front load our social proof. And then also, I tend to get really into this stuff. I'm sure you tend to get really into this stuff. I don't want anybody clicking off at like the first point when there's 4 more really juicy points left over.
Yeah, like when you're explaining it instead of even getting into it. Yeah, like they might. Yeah. Okay,
yeah,
go on.
Of course, that's my problem, right? Anyway, so here's more or less what I'm going to be talking about today. All my points are going to center around this concept. So I am now the biggest AI automation community on School by revenue. I've far surpassed every other AI automation community on School, and I'm actually the 8th biggest community on School in general.
By R?
Yeah, it's pretty by R.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
not gonna lie.
So that's actually not even counting both my communities. It's just counting one of them. So if you added up both my communities, which I know is kind of unfair, but like if you did, I'd be, I think, the 3rd or the 4th biggest like revenue driver in School, which is pretty wild. So most of what I'm going to talk about today has to do with communities. I'm really diving into like community churn reduction. I'm diving into like maximizing community engagement. And I'm just diving into like habits and tactics that I can use to improve that. What are you going to be talking about today?
I'm going to be talking about consistency and upselling people and just a content strategy, because I've made some changes in my content strategy. So that's what I'll talk about today.
Cool.
That's technically like 3 things and you do 2 things, because I'm obviously have to do all of the work. That's why I have to do 60% of it. You have more MRP, so I have to do more work,
That's how it works, yes. But I can get started if you want.
Please.
Cool. Biggest thing that I'm doing right now, and something that I just started doing about a week and a half ago, was a community exclusive to reduce churn. So I know that we've talked a lot about various strategies for churn reduction, and you've told me to get on doing daily emails. And that's something that I'm going to implement probably in the next couple of days here. But, essentially, I'm making, it's just under 100,000 MRR through Maker School. And that's a fair amount of money. So up until now, the main revenue driver for me has been getting new people signed up, right? But the bigger a community grows, obviously, the larger the churn percentage becomes on a monthly basis. Like a larger contributor to your revenue loss. And so now my straightest line path to just more revenue is not just posting consistently. If you think about it, it's actually like reducing churn by a few percent. The way that churn math works is like, if your churn's 20%, you can sort of extrapolate the lifetime revenue of your community by just going 1 divided by 20% times the total MRR. So rough math here, 20% churn, 1 divided by that is 5, right? 5 times 100,000 is 500,000. So basically, like assuming that I don't get a single new member in, I make $500,000 with this current base of people. If I were to reduce churn from 20% to 15%, I would basically make like 100. I think the math is like $160,000 basically immediately. So I want to make a lot of money, and I want to do it in as little time as humanly possible. So yeah, just like mathematically, the churn reduction is the biggest thing. So these community exclusives that I'm doing, they're kind of neat. I mean, I know they sound really low hanging fruit and they sound really dumb, and you're probably like, well, duh, dude, like you shouldn't do this from the beginning. But essentially I'm just creating a piece of content that's like specific and exclusive to my group. And then I'm like calling it that. I'm saying you'll never find this on YouTube, never to be posted on YouTube. You'll never find this anywhere else. This is just for you guys. If you leave the program, you're not going to have access to this anymore. I'm never going to show anybody that's outside of this group how to do this specific thing. And so I did one last week, and then my churn dropped by 2%. So like mathematically, I think I made $30,000 with that one video.
So how often is this?
Well, I want to do this like once a week. Ideally, I do this once a day. Honestly, I just have some gem that I'm dropping every single day.
Yeah, if you can think of that many ideas, though, that's a lot of ideas.
I know
that you like can't post on YouTube after.
I know, and that's the thing, dude. Because immediately after I did it, I was like, shit, this would make a good YouTube video.
You should do it with like templates or something, and like
what kind of templates?
I don't know. I guess you kind of have your templates in there, but you make it in YouTube, and then you just do a step-by-step guide in school or something.
That's actually not a bad idea, because I technically have a near infinite source of this stuff, right? Because I have a daily updates channel where people just ask me questions. So I could take questions from there. I mean, I get like 15 a day. One of them is something that I could post on my community and not on YouTube. I could just make a template off it.
Yeah. Reducing churn is a big one, because my churn in my group is, you should have lower churn than me, because what's your churn percentage?
I think it's like 19 right now, 19 or 20.
Yeah, like mine's 14.5, and people love me way less than you do. They love you, and like respectively, and yours has like 100 times the size and momentum.
That might actually be why, though, mathematically. Like maybe all of the low-hanging fruit people have just left because you don't engage with them, or they don't really like you that much. But like now it's just your core believers.
Yeah, maybe. But I only get like maybe 1 to 5 people per day.
Like signing up, or?
Yeah, I'm signing up. It's like my 4th most important offer too. If I was like yours, my churn would definitely be 8 to 10%.
Yeah. No, I can see it.
But the thing that made the most difference for me is like just emailing them daily, and like it makes sense because you're just like talking to them daily. It's like, okay, I'm gonna not get this guy's emails. He's like, you're selling friendship as a service.
Fast.
And that's literally like what my high ticket offer is, like, to really usually delves into just friendship as a service. I'm like the only one they talk to regularly.
But I thought about this legitimately. I was like, if I were to do a super high ticket and we were doing daily calls, I don't think you're doing daily calls, right?
I am, yeah.
Okay, you are doing daily calls. You're doing literally daily calls. You're like friends. This is like, I think that's what a mastermind is. It's just like a high net worth social circle.
Yeah, and then it's nice if you can get them some sort of result.
That would be nice, yeah.
It would be nice. We'll see, People in mine get pretty good results, but people who join masterminds would usually succeed anyways. You just help them faster.
Didn't you make somebody like $900 million a year or something like that?
I could take credit for that, but realistically, they made themselves $900 million, and I gave them, would have made it anyway. Cool. So yeah, that mastermind guy went from like 498 million to 963 million.
Jesus, man.
I would honestly say I probably did like 20% of it.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, like if you just consider the system,
no profit share, but it's just 30K a month for 1 hour of calls per day, Jesus, 7 days a week.
What is 400 million? What's 360,000 divided by 400 million? Let's do the math there.
Yeah, a small percentage, but
not bad. Anyway, that's my main point today. So I'm doing community exclusives, and I'm going to continue to do so. I'm late. I should have done that last one yesterday. But, I'm going to continue rolling through it, and then like next week and follow-up weeks. Assuming we actually do this podcast on a weekly basis, Matt, your voice doesn't mysteriously disappear again. I'll be able to update on how my churn's doing.
This is going to be a daily show from now on. Like,
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be a daily show. It's one of those things, you know what I mean?
What do you got for us, man?
So that's kind of like the daily show. My thing I've been doing this week is just doing the core things every day instead of some random schedule. Like working out every day in the gym, filming every day, making like 3 improvements to my mastermind every day. Because for me, I'm personally way less likely to do something once or 3 times per week than 7 times per week. I just like end up not doing it. And in the last 3 weeks, I've been doing it, and I just started scheduling the videos, but I have 21 videos in the queue. I've like literally lifted weights for like 20 minutes realistically a day for 7 days a week. So I'm sure that it would be better to do a 45-minute workout and obliterate yourself 3 times per week, but it's 7 times is better than no times.
True.
So basically, that's what I've been doing. I've been, yeah, especially with these YouTube videos. I could kind of combine my first and third points into this. So the YouTube videos specifically, like I've changed my strategy a little bit and just like ramming agency only videos with people who are doing 500K to 5 million per year in mind. And like that's how I start every video now. Like I got convinced by this YouTube guy I talked to. Like most people say you got to do the title and the thumbnail first, and then you do the video.
Mm-hmm.
This is like you gotta like even before the title and the thumbnail, you got to do the audience first. And there's like a few reasons, and you do it either accidentally or subconsciously or intuitively. But like the reasons to do that, well, he calls it like there's 4 main reasons to do that. Like the first is audience matching, is what he calls it at least. So because what I did previously is I just like made a bunch of whatever video I wanted to.
Yeah.
You see a lot of people do that. But if you make one how-to about agencies and then one vlog, never made a vlog before, but you make one about how to get to 10K per month as a beginner, and then you make one on how to do your sales process, and then you do one like the algorithm doesn't know what you're like going for, right? You and like some people will just make 20 N8N videos in a row. Like the algorithm is very sure the 21st is going to be about N8N, right? So it's able to push you a lot more, according to him. And he's like one of those big YouTube expert consultant guys. And it makes sense, I guess. That makes a lot of sense where you see people who have, a science video, then a tech video, then a vlog, and then X, Y, and Z all over the place. And
Right.
how could, like, the algorithm's just like, what does this guy do? All right. So I've changed it to agency only. I've made about 21 videos, posted 3, and views are way down. But booked calls are way up. So it's like an interesting. Booked calls and CPM's way up again. So the 4 reasons to do this.
When you say CPM, you're referring to ad CPM on your YouTube?
Yeah, like as you can see how much people spend on your channel, like on average. And that's like a good secondary metric to like make sure you're targeting the right people.
Keep an eye spend.
Yeah, like my CPM on my channel is $66. Like
Jesus,
if they want to advertise.
$66 now? What the hell? Dude, that did not used to be $66.
No, that's what I mean. Like views are way down. Like I probably get half the views that I am used to so far.
Yeah.
But these are new videos too. Like they obviously go more over time. But I haven't had a video that was higher than like 5 out of 10 on the 1 to 10 scale recently. So normally I get like between 1,000 and 2,000 views. These get in like 650, 555, 251, which is kind of sad to see. But booked calls are going way up because it's probably targeting agency owners now. So the first is the audience matching, like sending it to the right person. And hopefully once I make 50 agency videos in a row, it will push to the people I'm trying to push to, and I will get more views, hopefully. The second one is like to do with expectations, right? Someone clicks on your video, and I'm sure this is true with every platform that has a machine learning algorithm, but someone clicks on their video and they like it and they subscribe. And then the next video is something completely different. They're going to not watch you anymore or unsubscribe, right? Or on another level, like every video is completely different. Like they're just not going to, like one of the best things for the algorithm supposedly is people binging all your content. Like that makes sense. Mm-hmm. It's not just like one video, but they go into your profile and click the next one. If it's all about the exact same thing with the exact same audience in mind, like that just becomes possible as opposed to just randomly.
Why, playlists are such a powerful tool, because I mean like they logically batch a bunch of related content together, so you don't need to like make a new channel for it.
Yeah, I think so. The third is what was the third? It was just like obviously I think the third would be binge watching for the reason. So I put those in 2. And then the fourth is like he said, like your main goal is to just dominate a keyword, right? If someone thinks of agency, you want them to Google Matthew Larson YouTube. If someone wants to think of AI automation, Nick.
Right.
If you think of business advice, Hermosi. If you think of minimalism, Matt Davella. If you think of, and then you could just keep going in that way.
Huge veiny muscles, you click on Hermosi.
Of course, he's huge. So like those 4 reasons are pretty compelling to me. So I'm making all my content literally walking around for 30 minutes with my notes app on my phone and like, okay, what problems do these people have? What problems did I have when I was that stage? And I like thought of a pretty good ones. Like these are the ones I've made before. Like how do you would actually hire A players for your agency? Like a video about it. This is the video idea. It's not necessarily the title because these are not great titles. Like how you would actually, the process you would take of actually getting yourself out of sales as an agency owner. The process that you would do to actually get yourself out of operations without like your client work getting wrecked.
These are very nuanced.
Yeah, and so that's why views is probably down. Like,
Right.
like it's pretty nuanced, and they all say agency in the title and stuff now in the thumbnail. So if you don't have an agency, like I'm sure a lot of people watch me without an agency if they're just trying to get leads, like 1,000x leads previously. What to do if you like are fucked and you need clients now? Like that's a good one. How to build a $1 million per year. Most useful ways to use AI as an agency owner. How to manage your employees as an agency owner, where to focus your time, how to dial in your pricing, the benefits of niching. If you want to sell your agency, like what should you do?
That's big.
If you're working 12 hours per day and as an agency owner and you're burnt out, like what should you do? Very like specific problems that I would say a benefit that he didn't say, but like a fifth benefit is almost like a term, like a form of social proof, because you would like the only way you would know like these are your problems is if you've done that before.
Definitely. I mean, these are so nuanced, right?
Yeah.
These are exactly what people struggle with.
Yeah, and then there's a bunch more, but I don't think I need to read all of them off.
You don't want to
right
just
now.
read another 200 titles in your monotone? Okay.
Yeah, I could do that. Our agency is a good use of... This is a good one. I actually made this statement. Our agency is like a good use of time, like a good opportunity, because you like, should I be having a different business model?
It's kind of like a theoret. I mean, it's like...
I think like a lot of people, most people who say agencies aren't good time are like trying to sell you into their biz op for something else.
Yeah, for sure.
But I feel I've had that thought before. Like, is this really what I should be doing?
Yeah.
And
same.
it's an interesting question. So,
you know what? On that interesting question, I've always conceptualized it like this. Agencies are the quickest way to go from 0 to 1 and like start making outsized revenue. There's no quicker and easier way. Scalability is at odds with that. So if you wanted to like make longer term money and scale it up, you do something like affiliates or something like an info product or something like a SaaS.
Yeah, that was like my video. That was like the points where grass is always greener. Your agency can be sold. It teaches you invaluable skills. Easy to translate to performance only affiliate. Easy to translate to roll ups. Like if you're an agency for plumbers, you can just roll up plumbing companies. And then I use the word easy for all these. I don't know about easy. And then easy is to like, if you just have like a $5 million per year agency just to, or maybe even bigger than that, but you could stuff just $100K a month in the S&P 500 and just run it for like 20 years and build wealth.
Yeah, true.
So
I agree with you on this is like the simplest. Maybe it's not easy, but simple. I mean, it is simple conceptually. All this is very simple.
Yeah, like that's what you would, if you're trying to make $100 million with an agency, like that's what you would go into.
Yeah. You trying to make $100 million with an agency?
Trying to make $100 million. If it's through an agency, then let's do it. I'm not picky. Whatever works. So
sounds good.
What about you?
Yeah. Man, so many thoughts are swirling around in my head.
Because you're going to need to do 3 things today. I'm the host.
Yeah,
the guest.
Cool. I already prepped 3 things because I knew this was going to happen because I actually conned you into doing the intro.
Oh,
the fans, they haven't really been liking you recently, so I just wanted to give you a little more face.
I know. I saw that one guy. This one guy, I said, we don't want to see Matt. We only want to see Nick.
Brutal, man. Oh, I felt so bad.
I don't feel bad. I was like,
laughed afterwards. And I liked
I laughed too, not going to lie. I was just like, yeah.
It's all good, man. Okay, point number 2, our community engagement is community engagement minimums. So I'm actually setting minimums for engagement, and you need to be engaged. You need to do something every 30 days, or I boot you out of the group. Now, I haven't actually booted people out of Maker School yet, but I probably will if they're not engaged. I know that this sounds really silly. Okay, it sounds really silly. It's super stupid. But I've actually built a very positive reputation doing this at MakeMoneyWithMake.com, which is my capped community at 400. So just a little bit of context. My community is capped at 400, right? So that means if I want to get somebody else in, somebody else needs to go. But the way that most communities do their pricing, the way that I did my pricing, is when I started almost a year ago now, I started at a much lower price than I have now. I started at like $30 a month or something because I didn't know what I was doing and I didn't, believe I had the value and whatever. All these myriad problems with that. But yeah. So I had a bunch of people that signed up way at the beginning. And they signed up for a $38 a month thing, $48 a month. And then they just disappeared. So 0 engagement. Because there's a fixed group size. Obviously, the longer that goes on, a bigger chunk of the community is just going to be non-engaged, right? And so overall engagement in the community is going to go down. And the other issue is I'm losing money because, instead of me getting somebody in at 128 or 138 or 158 or $1,382 a month, a year, I'm stuck getting 28 or 38 or 48 bucks from that guy that joined way at the beginning. So, so I set community engagement minimums in makemoneywithmake.com. And then I basically said, hey, if you're not around for 30 days or more, I don't want to bill you because I don't believe in billing people for the value that they're not getting. And if you haven't logged on in 82 days, how are you getting value from my group? You're not really getting value. So put that in. And then I started sending people messages. I'd be like, hey, it's been 65 days since you came on board here. And you haven't jumped, you haven't said a single comment or anything like that. Is everything okay? If I don't hear back from you, I'm going to, I'm going to boot you out of the group. And sorry, am I doubling up or something? I think my AirPods are dying.
Nope.
Okay.
Sounds good to me.
So then I started doing that. And so I started booting people out, but then I would always phrase it as, I'm not just trying to kick you out. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make sure you don't get double billed. You don't get billed on a service you're not using. So it's actually funny is a lot of people really like that. A lot of people are like, wow, Nick, you prevented me from getting triple billed. I'm so sorry. I totally forgot about the subscription and blah, blah, blah. Dude, you're so cool. And they're the ones that are presumably singing my praises on various Reddit threads and, in YouTube comments and stuff.
Very nice.
Yeah. Right. So it's kind of like a double dip. It's strategic. I get to bill more and then I get to make sure I have new blood in my groups. But then I also don't have to deal with me making a small monthly amount on a lot of these people. Man, when I figured that out, I was like, oof, this is what I call business right here. That is strategy. Oh, best of both worlds. Anyway, I'm thinking about doing that for Maker School. There is a big chunk of people that just aren't engaged. There's about 100 people that haven't posted anything in over 30 days. So the way that I see it with engagement, you need to provide them a carrot. So you need to provide them a reason to engage, right? So in my case, I'm providing them a ton of social validation. I pin their post every time they make money. We get 100 people in there being like, dude, you're amazing. You're awesome. This is incredible, blah, 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 right? They feel really good. I obviously provide a lot of incentives to engage, as in if you engage, then I engage on your posts, right? I comment on them. I help you out. I'm doing things if you're in Maker School for a certain amount of time, you get a call. You get a call with me. That's an incentive. These are all carrots, right? But I realize that you can't just have the carrot. You also need the stick. So, anyway, I think this is going to improve engagement. And I think this isn't actually going to decrease my churn. Sorry, I don't think this is actually going to increase my churn because I'm kicking people out. I think this is actually going to decrease my churn. Not 100% sure what exactly that's going to look like for Maker School, whether it's going to be 30 day, 60 day, 90 day, or whatever. But yeah, I am going to have some sort of minimum, and I'm going to make it abundantly clear, on the onboarding. When you come in, it's going to be I'm going to boot you out if you don't comment within 30 days or something. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that.
You have onboarding now? Love that.
Well, it's just an onboarding sequence. It's not it's not an actual call.
Okay.
I could do calls.
I think it's good for you because you have enough traffic to do. I think that would be terrible for the average person to do. If you can't fill up your community and you start kicking people out. But for you, it's good.
How a lot of people's businesses, one thing that nobody ever says, hey, why is SaaS such a great business model? And it's because 20% of people just forget that they have a subscription.
Yeah. It's a lot of business models.
Nobody really says that, but that's actually a massive chunk. You want to do everything possible not to let the person know that they're still subscribed to your service so that you can bill them the next month. It's kind of, yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of that. People but then you do get the crazy people who want it. They just charge back too if you do it.
Dude, I got this guy the other day. He's like, hey, I need an immediate refund. This wasn't what was advertised. And I was just like, all right, sure. I'll give you a refund. I don't mind. Because I've just found that it's easier to give people that are just so stuck up their asses refunds. But I always ask them a question before. I'm like, all right, so what was advertised then? And then he's like, this is a super beginner group. I wasn't expecting a beginner group. It's not at all what I expected. And then I was just like, all right, well, can you show me the part of the advertising that says that this is not a beginner group? I've audited my marketing materials. I made it abundantly clear this shit is for beginners. Everybody knows that this is for beginners. It says it's for beginners on the front page. It's this is going to help you get your first customer with automation or your money back. Anyway, I'm still waiting on a reply from him. But then I checked it out, and then he doesn't just want 1 month of refund. He wants 2 months. So he's been in my group for 2 months, and I bet you that's the sort of guy that gives you a charge back. Total waste of my time.
I took out that or get a refund guarantee in my school group, and there was zero noticeable change.
Yeah.
And now there's no refunds.
Yeah, I've given like 4 in the last month probably. So I'm not gonna lie, like
I used to give quite a few.
does.
Like I used to give quite a few. I would say like maybe a big percentage of people for like relative to the size would want one.
A lot of people are probably kind of embarrassed, honestly. I think a lot of people look up to me a lot and they're like, oh, I didn't actually do the work. I don't want to tell Nick I didn't do the work. And it's like, all right, like how much money is it? $100? That's fine. So like, that's probably a chunk of it. And I think a lot of it's also just like, I make it such a warm, happy vibe that people still get value even if they don't end up getting it. And I don't know the numbers on this. I should really be tracking, but like, I'm pretty sure most people get their first customer, dude. It's crazy. I have so many people email me like, hey, I was in Maker School for 27 days 6 months ago. Just wanted to thank you. I got my 59th customer and now I'm running a $20K a month MRR business. And I'm like, oh shit.
That's sick, dude. You got to interview those people.
That's not a bad idea, actually. Let me make a note of that.
It's like an obvious idea. It's
yeah,
like
I know.
That was a basic thing, like having onboarding. Collecting client results. Amazing.
Yeah. Somehow this guy still made it to number 8.
If you take your refund guarantee out, I like just like people ask for a refund. I'm like, well, I don't know where you saw that you think you can get a refund. Like, like, can you show me that? Like, you screenshot that? Like, I'm like, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just, I've had people who like say that I need a refund and I check and they've been in there for like 8 months. And they let you refund for all 8 months. Like, I need it. Like, I'm like, sorry.
Dude,
sucks to be you.
I love my community members, man. Like 99.9% of them are like incredible, amazing people that actually try really hard. And like most of them see the results that they're looking for, really. But every now and then there's just like some very bad faith person that comes in that like is like legitimately just trying to steal from me. And I mean, like strategically, it's not that big of a deal just to give them their money back or whatever, but it does pain me every time I have to do so. It just pains me. So anyway, some other guy that asked me for a refund, he was like, it's EU policy. You must provide a refund. I'm dissatisfied with this program. And in my head, I'm like, dude, like you could have just been like, hey, bro, do you mind if I have a refund? And I would have given you the refund. Like, but when you phrase it like that, I'm like, dude, what the hell are you dissatisfied about? Tell me so I can fix it. Anyway, what do? I search up his first and last name on Google. And the guy's like a criminal record file like this long. He's like, fraud for this, like, assault for this. Anyway, the point I'm making is I'm just like, all right, fuck it, bro. Take your money back. I don't want to deal with you.
It's always the case.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got my first charge. I got my first charge back. And like this guy who charged back is so bad that his bank like sent me a letter that this is just a preliminary like inquiry to see because he's clearly charged back like 1,000 times or something.
Oh, Jesus.
So I was just like, okay. And then I sent out the bank's like, okay. Like American, like, you know how hard it is to win a chargeback against American Express? Like, that's how bad this guy must be. American Express said, okay.
So listen, this guy.
Yeah, like, and then you must be charging back like crazy. And then he emails me. He's like, get yourself together. You've obviously never dealt with merchant services before. I'm like, yeah, I haven't.
No.
Like, because I don't get chargebacks. Like, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Anyway, so that's my main point. Just community engagement and inactive members are the group.
So what would someone without a community learn from that?
I think engagement's probably the number one metric. And in whatever product you are creating, it's not enough just to provide a carrot, so to incentivize behavior, but you need some sort of stick, You need something in front of the person, and then you need something behind them being like, all right, let's go. And really, like I'm doing this to improve people's outcomes with my product. Whatever product you're selling. I'm not doing this just because I want to screw with them. Obviously, I've identified that there's a high correlation between your engagement in my group and your success, right? So I just want to incentivize engagement however possible, even though it's still technically a stick. I'm doing it for their benefit.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like I think Alex Hermosi maybe one time, he used to sell 3 times per week fitness, and he said that you could see like the correlation. Someone hits goes for 3 times per week, and then they go for 2 times per week for a couple of weeks, and then 1 time per week, and then they churn. So he phones them after they didn't hit. Like every time they don't come in 3 times per week, like phone them like 10 times. It's probably like the case even with like normal clients.
I wonder if you had some mechanism to do that. You had like a mini Lucas or something. You had a real Lucas.
I could probably do it myself. Like, I saw you weren't coming to the calls. Like, why?
Well, it makes sense for you to do this with your mastermind product. What's it at now per month again?
It's like 120K.
And what's the price for a new member?
2,500.
2,500 a month, yeah.
But there's been very, very little churn, so it probably is worth it.
Still, though, like if somebody does not do the thing, would be interesting to check in with them.
Yeah, I put that down.
Yeah.
Why aren't you coming? Why aren't you booking your one-on-one calls? Why aren't you like doing that? It's probably a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, even just a simple text, they'd probably appreciate it from an accountability perspective because that's a big chunk of what they're paying for, accountability.
Yeah, because it's like pretty crazy. There's like 48 members, and it's been online for 3 months, and I've done like 35 one-on-one calls.
That's it?
Yeah, because I have them all recorded in a spreadsheet. So like most people literally just sign up and then ask a question like once every 2 weeks, and then apparently are satisfied.
Are they, do you think some of them are intimidated to get on a call with you just because of your
you
should do this, stop being stupid attitude?
I don't think so. Like a lot of them, most people in there do like 2 to 5 million a year.
Right.
I don't think they care that much what I think, other than like.
So they're literally just hiring you for like one-off strategy Q&A, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Sounds like it.
That's interesting.
Yeah, you never really know why people hire you.
I mean, you could just ask them, but maybe you just don't want
to. No, like they don't articulate. They either just tell you what you want to hear, or they don't articulate it well.
Yeah, like the real reason, right? I feel you.
Yeah. It's like when you're interviewing salespeople, they just say these leads are unqualified. Like that's the standard thing. Like
always.
Okay, they're unqualified. Like okay, like what is that?
I've said that before back when I was doing door to door.
These leads are just terrible, Like I'm like okay.
What am I supposed to do with these leads?
Yeah. So you hear a lot of that, but maybe I will ask.
Or like a subset of them, like 3 of them. I don't know, 4, 10%.
I'm gonna ask why did you sign up for this in the onboarding form?
Yeah, good call. All right, Matt, that's my question or my point. Let's hear your next one.
Yeah, the next one is I've been having a lot of success selling to current customers. There's a great quote from someone sometime in some book, or maybe some other ones that, don't get customers to make sales, get sales to get customers, because then they're your buyer, and it's a lot like even if they spend $1 from you, they're still your customer as opposed to doing something for free. And I've had a lot of success upselling people from the school group and 1,000x leads to my mastermind. I guess it's obvious. And a lot of the time they just randomly join and they're like sales call, or they just like find the payment link and I wake up and they're in there. So I'm probably going to launch a $1 1-week trial for my mastermind soon.
I was going to say.
Use some stuff. I've had it set up for a while, but I think I might just do it just to get people to try. Because I did it for 1,000x leads at one point, but it wasn't any like better than just having a sales call. But this one is such higher LTV that it probably is going to be worth it.
But you're not going to offer one-on-ones as part of this $1 for the first week, right?
No, they're going to get some systems. They're going to get access to the AI tools. They're going to come to the calls. And then if that's it, maybe not even come to the calls. I haven't decided yet because it's kind of unfair.
Yeah, I know.
And it would get clogged up.
Client at 2,500 times the amount, and I'm like, why are they at the call?
Yeah, and then I'll just talk to them in Slack during that week too.
That's fair.
Spend the whole week trying to sell them.
I mean, that's basically all it is. It's just like a protracted sales process. So,
because we did it for 1,000x leads, but like it's $1. You get a lot of random people who are at like 1K a month in there, so it's not like a perfect thing.
But I got to be honest, like if your target audience is, I forget what it was, but it was like 50K a month at least or something?
Yeah, 500K to 5 million per year. So maybe I'll get traffic that is more likely to be like that, right? So,
I mean, like, if you're doing $1, can you do like $100 or something?
I don't know. I just like symbolic.
Somebody that's making $1 million a year is not really going to meaningfully distinguish between $100 and $100 or something, But you'll probably be able to filter out 80% of like the people that are making. Or I don't know, just like time wasters.
Like a lot of the people who do that much, like 2,500 is not anything to them anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like one of the best ways to reduce churn because there's, not practical for you, but it's practical for everybody who has clients and services. But there's been 52 people in the mastermind, and 3 have churned, and all 3 that have churned were joined doing less than 10K per month, and I shouldn't have let them in
to begin with, right? Makes sense.
Yeah, so it's just like and then 1 came back since then, since he like got some more sales.
Oh, gotcha. So he like improved his business, made it over 10K a month, and then
there's basically 2 people like that churned, and 1 person said they'll come back, and then 1 person like churn, I think. And I never heard from him again. But it's it's like
25% of their whole margin.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like a great way to reduce churn. Just like only let in the best people.
Yeah, no, it's a good point.
Underrated churn tactics. Only work with the best people.
Let in fewer people.
Yeah,
I heard it. I don't know if I got this from Hormozy or something, but it's like, yeah, I mean, you've internalized this just based off your words earlier in the pod, but it was like, these people are the sort of people that were going to win anyway. So it's like they were going to win with your program or with somebody else's program. Might as well just be your program.
Yeah, and it's funny to admit, but like it's really hard to like get people to get ads that work from scratch. Like when they get in there, they already have ads that work. They already have cold emails that work, and you can help them improve it. It's actually like doing something that's easier.
Yeah, it's the difference between going 0 to 1 and 1 to 100. Right? Like that initial gap is much more difficult. You're basically finding, it's not product market fit, it's like ad market fit, marketing market fit. I don't know.
Yeah, it's very hard if they're just very bad on camera. It's very hard to like get them to make ads to work.
Yeah.
Like they either have to put in 100 hours practicing, or like that's basically the only option.
Jesus, that's brutal. Do you just roast them constantly? It's like, you look dumb there.
Yeah, like something that I find a lot of people have is like even their camera positioning setup, and it makes them look very small on camera. Like you look small. Yeah, it's like high up, and like they just look small. So it's just like, that's like one of my, I've said that like quite a few times recently, and it's not good for your ads at all to have your camera high up and looking small. It's like I saw, it's like the winner of the last like 13 presidential elections was the taller candidate.
Are you serious?
Something like that. Yeah.
Actually, Jesus. Reminds me a lot of
well, Trump is not kind of unfair. Well, it was everyone but Trump versus Biden. That was
how tall is Trump anyway?
He's like 6'5", I think.
Jesus Christ.
You're 6'4".
Hey, I got some new shoes. And they make me 6'4".
Awesome. Congratulations.
Dude, I'm huge now.
You are huge. There's a little bit more to go.
Yeah. What are you at? 6'5"?
Yeah. 6'5 3/4.
Brutal. Jesus, brutally modern.
If I have shoes on, 6'6".
Oh, let's not talk about that. Barefoot shoes, man. They're better for your arches or some shit.
They are. It's true. It's true. So, ways to reduce churn, yeah? That's what you're...
Yeah, well, this last point isn't actually about reducing churn, but it's something interesting that I've been doing recently. So, when you have a little bit of money, you can literally just email anybody on planet Earth, and there's like a pretty high percentage chance that they're going to get back to you. I don't know if you've ever tried this, Matt.
Yes, for like the past 7 years.
Dude, it's incredible. You today, well, me, I could get in touch with like 20% of the world's foremost leaders in artificial intelligence. I could just send them an email. And I could say, hey, I run this big YouTube channel, well, sizable YouTube channel, and I have, maybe 2 million people essentially in my sphere of influence. I really like what you were talking about, X, Y, and Z. And I think that, I want to do this. And I don't know, as long as you don't pitch them on something monetary, like as long as you make it clear you're not trying to sell them on something, like a lot of them get back to you.
I think you're doing 2 different things here, though. Having money and getting like people to work for you is one thing, but like this is like your audience.
Well, no, I don't mean like, I'm not like cold emailing like people to sell anything to. I was just talking about like you could actually reasonably meet like most of the people you probably want to meet if you've had demonstrated success with something. If you just like send a cold email, you know what I mean? Like you can actually do that. Like in the last couple of weeks, I've connected with the world's foremost like mechanistic interpretability researcher at DeepMind. He's like the leader of this big ass team. I connected with this guy doing like multiplex gene editing in babies. I think I was telling you about this, to like eliminate Alzheimer's disease, make kids smarter and shit like that. I got a bunch of people that like run all these organizations tangential to AI, and I did so. Not all of them were through cold email. Some of them were through like targeted forum posts. But anyway, I guess what I'm trying to say is like I didn't really realize it, but the second that you have some level of monetary success, basically, you could just use that to front load like anything else that you want to do. Do you know what I mean? Like you could use that to immediately put yourself in front of and justify your presence in front of people that are like freaking influencing global cultural affairs, dude. I bet you I could probably email Sam Altman, and there's like a non-negligible chance he'd respond to me. I know it sounds weird, but I think if I put it together in a specific way, I could probably make it happen.
Yeah, like I have an AI thing. Like, I think it's your audience more than like success, which is, I guess, is the same thing because you built the audience.
You mean like the distribution of people in AI,
yeah,
which is why AI people are more likely to listen to me?
Yeah, like his thing is more likely because you have the same target audience and he has an opportunity.
I'm just thinking about
it's a media partnership in the 1,000x leads funnel.
I guess. Oh, really? Interesting. I'm just thinking about like so much of my life, so much of my growth in business and in life has just been through serendipitous relationships. When I say serendipitous, I mean just like really random ass sort of relationships, right? So I think about my relationship with you, for instance. It's pretty random, right? It's actually kind of random, but I think we both had like noticeable impacts on each other's trajectory, and we've also improved each other's lives in many ways. Obviously, I've improved your life way more than you've improved mine. Mm-hmm. But I think about a lot of my relationships in business like that. Like I simply just, my second business partner. I went to this neurotechnology conference or something in Vancouver. It was like a 2-day or a 1 or 2 day 2-day event where they just showcased a bunch of these headsets. And I wasn't actually like there to meet people for business. I just thought it was really cool, and I kind of wanted to go to this conference thing and learn more about this technology. And then I met this guy who introduced me to this guy who introduced me to this guy who would later end up being my business partner. And this guy had a profound impact on the trajectory of my life. Can you imagine just like adding 100 of the world's foremost leaders in some field to your Rolodex? Like, I don't know, man. I feel like that serendipity is really important.
Yes. And I feel like, I think that definitely will become exponential too. Because if you're like Cristiano Ronaldo, you can literally talk to the kings of any country if you wanted to. Yeah. Or like the Pope, or like, not that probably have too much impact on his life, but as you get bigger, like it just gets even more and more and more.
Like who's really big that you want to know?
I don't know. Personally, like right now.
Yeah.
Like who I'd want to talk to like on a regular basis, maybe.
Who do you want to be in like one of our group chats or something?
Probably like Hermosi would be a good option. Like, Hermosi,
I'm pretty sure
a couple of other business
just
guys.
Alex@school.com. You know?
Sure.
Like, I'm pretty sure you could just do that. And then if you're like, I don't know, like, you know how to cold email. We've been doing it ourselves for our own businesses for the better part of the last 5 years, right? Mm-hmm. You just construct something reasonably compelling, talking about all the money that you're making, that you're driving through school, and have some sort of justification for why you might want to chat or something. You could at least have them in like your sphere of influence pretty quickly. Or you could like, I don't know, hit them up on 3 or 4 social media. Like, dude, how much work would it actually take for you to do that? You would sit down and within 30 minutes, you'd have the thing. And you could copy that thing and send it to not just Alex, but like every major person you want to talk to. Within like 2 days, realistically, round trip, you could have contacted all these people. If, I don't know, even 5% of them get back to you, you have a list of 100. Like you just added 5 people to your, you know what I mean? You just added 5 people to your Rolodex. To me, that seems like kind of a no-brainer now. I think most people just don't do it because they're afraid of some sort of repercussion, or I don't know. I guess they just like there's some level of fear stopping them from interacting with these super high level people. But like, wasn't there some dude that like emailed, was it Jeff Bezos or something, or maybe the Virgin Galactic guy, and just like asked him for help with his homework one day? And like now they're friends and stuff.
Really, I don't know. But Steve Jobs used to tell him a story how he emailed like the guy from Hewlett Packard to get like parts, and then he got an internship.
Yes. That's the sort of stuff I'm talking about. Yeah. I feel like I've lost some of that like just blind ambition that I had when I was younger, just because I've found stuff that works consistently. But anyway, I guess just to round it all back up, that is a point that I'm experimenting with now. I mean, there's no reason why. That's the Dream 100
prospecting strategy. You got to put the 100 people that you want to meet, and then just put some effort, and it gets easier as you get more followers.
Is it really? I didn't realize that.
That's a very popular like technique to get your first client.
But do people actually do this?
Oh yeah.
And do people win with this?
Oh yeah.
I'm going to look up the Dream 100 strategy, and I don't know if I want them as clients, but I definitely like to like have some sort of
Yeah,
offer
you
to
just
them
do
that
it.
would be valuable.
Yeah, you just put like the 100 people you really want to work with, and you just like put a spreadsheet and just like in your case, you probably have more access. You could probably email or phone them, but like most people will just comment on all their stuff and like all their stuff until hopefully one day they get there.
Just try sliding into Sam Altman's DMs.
Sliding in. Well, yeah, most people like, I'm starting an e-commerce email marketing agency. Let's get 100 brands I want to work with. Or
Right.
then it's like a very popular strategy.
All right.
I used to do something of that nature. It wasn't 100, but
you meet anybody really cool?
I used to get clients.
Okay. I think I
An
can
hour per day. Hour per day. Nothing beats it. Manual prospecting.
I was going to say, you have 100 people on a list. You could email 10 of them in an hour, realistically.
You ever read the book Fanatical Prospecting?
Is that the one with Jeb Blunt?
Yeah.
Yeah, way back, whenever he published it, which I think was a few years back, right?
Yeah, I think that's where that one started. Or at least that's where I started doing it from.
Yeah, I think this would be pretty dope. The thing is, most people so I'm a lot of people's dream 100 now, right? A lot of the beginners in my group. I'm sure you are to a lot of your guys. And the way that people reach out to me, it just tends to be very poor. It's like, hey, how's it going? This is me. I'm an intern at this thing. I'm struggling with this and I need some help with that. And can you do all this? And can you take all this time out of your day? And can you just like do a bunch of shit for me? Can you mentor me? And it's like, no, like what's my upside here? Basically nothing. Why would I do that? So I always tell people, like, if you want to reach out to high level people, you need to come with some very quick and easy improvement or some quick and easy piece of value that they can implement without really having to do anything on their end. And then you just need to make it constant value and asking absolutely nothing in return. I feel like I could write like a really good few emails for most of these guys and then just get in touch with them.
Yeah, the more successful they are, the more likely they're going to use like SMS too.
Yeah, I know. I found that, huh? Weird how like the more successful people just text.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure Alex Ramosi doesn't even have an email address. He said that a few times.
I'm sure he has an email address, man.
Or I'm pretty sure he does, but I'm sure he doesn't check it.
Yeah.
They say that Bill Clinton didn't have an email when he was president.
No, dude, it was just bill@usa.com.
Yeah. I could see that happening, honestly. Just like telling
Did
him.
I tell you what happened the other day? While I was building a system, I created a calendar appointment. And it was just like an example. So I just put peter@x.com, not even thinking that X was like a real domain. Anyway, a guy called peter@x.com got the invitation.
Oh, really?
He declined.
He declined? That's funny.
But like, I'm pretty sure you could Elon@x.com. It's like that guy's getting that. He's getting that calendar invite. Whether he sees it is another thing, but that is in his Google Calendar.
I sent something like that to like 50 people before I fixed it. Calendly.com/scale your agency is a different company, and I thought it was mine when I set it up. Mine's like scale.youragency. Fuck.
That's brutal.
And they're like, what is this? I'm like,
let's not talk about it.
Yeah, that's a big L, but it's fine. All
right, anyway, that's my last point.
That's your last point? Short episode today. Short episode.
Dude, we've been chatting for almost 50 minutes.
50 minutes. I know. People wanted a full hour, but we'll give it to them next time.
Today.
They did. I get a lot of messages about this.
You know what? I've gotten a lot of people in my school being like, when are you going to restart the podcast with Matt? And I'm always just like, it's Matt's fault. I don't know. It doesn't have a voice.
Yeah, it kind of is.
Take it up with him.
Not going to lie. But I hear a lot from like my current clients who obviously watch every episode because it always gets a reference.
Yeah.
That's a retention technique. They're watching your pod.
What would you rate our this last pod out of 10, Matt?
This one we're on right here?
Yeah.
I'd say this is probably one of our weaker ones, to be honest.
Why do you think it's one of our weaker ones?
I think we could have done better. We're just rusty.
Whereabouts exactly do you think we could have done better?
The topics, I think.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
I think I think what we need to do is we need to improve just how punchy they are, and then just have like one-liners, and then
one-liners,
flip them like we talked about.
Superficial.
100%.
Well,
value.
Thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Hopefully, a better podcast. See you guys.